This is part 4 of the console sort application that we're writing in Visual Basic.net. And what we're going to do in this final part is we're going to take the list of words that we created in the sort array up here, or the my array, which is a list of string, and we're going to cycle through it and count how many times a letter starts with each letter of the alphabet and write that to another file. So what we have to do is we have to make another subroutine, and we're going to call this word count. And we're going to use a variable called a string array. That is going to be as a list of string, just like what we're passing into it. String, we have to use the same type, and notice when I enter here it puts the by val in there for me, just future reference shortcuts. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have to copy this and come back up to our original subroutine here, and we're going to pass in my array to that as well. And so we need to get set here with a few string variables. We're going to use alphabet as string. And that's going to actually, I'm going to actually type E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. Gotta know your alphabet. Okay, the reason I'm doing that, we're going to use substrings of this, and I'll show you how we're going to represent each letter when we're comparing it to the first letter of each word in the list. I'm going to use a substring of that while I'm looping, and so we don't have to use one line for each letter of the alphabet. We can actually just have the placeholder my string hold A for a while, then B, then C as we're looping through. You'll see that when we get to that part. So we're going to also have a path, just like we did the right path as a string. That is, if I can type, string. We're going to have that in the same folder as we have the other two files, and we'll count this the counted. We'll name this the counted text, and we are going to need a stream writer to write the file again, and we'll call it my writer as stream writer, and that's the same way we did before. We're going to have a new stream writer, and we're going to write it to, what do we call it, right path? Right path. Okay, now we need to have a few integers. We're going to actually have we're going to actually have a count of, we're going to make this an array of 25, which is actually 26 because it's 0 based, and we're going to have a list of integers. So we have 26 integers, and that's going to represent 1 for each letter of the alphabet. That's where we're going to keep count of how many A's, how many B's, etc. we have. We're going to use max again as integer, and that's going to be our string array. We'll use the count property of that, -1 again for the same reason as before, 0 based. And that's all the variables we need. Now we're going to have, again, 2 loops, just like we did in an earlier lesson. We're going to call them loop 1 again. This is going to be 0 to 25. That's going to represent 1 for each letter of the alphabet. While it's loop 1, we're going to take that my string that we declared, and we're going to use the alphabet string, and we're going to use a substring of that. We're going to take the substring, we're going to use whatever the loop 1 is on, that's the position. So imagine this is the first time through, the 0 position. We're going to only use one character, so that would be the first time through. It would be looking at A. Then we're going to start our loop. For our second loop, loop 2, we're going to go 0 to max because we want to loop through each of our letters, and then we're going to compare the string array value in loop 2, which is the current word, the substring of that. So we're just going to take the first letter of that word. So the substring is always going to be 0. The first letter we only want 1, and we're going to compare that to our myString, and if it's equivalent, then we're going to count it. Count of, and the first time through, this would be loop 1. It would be how many A's are there. We're going to increment that by 1, and that is going to do it for what we need to do inside loop 2. So once we're done with loop 2, we need to write the results to the file, which we're just going to make my writer. We're going to write a line, and that's going to be myString, and we're going to concatenate that with the word occurred. Occurred how many times? It's going to be count of loop 1. We're still inside the loop 1, so that'll be when it's A, and it'll be and how many times, and end the statement, and that's all we need. We need to dispose of the writer, my writer, dispose method, and that's it. So we can test this now. We'll look in our debug folder, and we'll see there is no, what do we call this? Counted text file. There isn't one there. We should be able to come here and run this, and it should bring our console up and back. It ran and closed, and now we can come back to our debug and see the counted file is there, and we'll double click that, open it, and we'll see that it actually did count the words. We can open up the sorted one here side by side with it, and we'll see that it counted 2 A words, 1 B word, 2 F words, etc. So it looks as though it worked. That is the end of this, I guess, 4-part series. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to offer them in comments. But I don't know how many more of these Visual Basic lessons I'm going to do, but since someone asked about Visual Basic, I figured I would do a series on Visual Basic, and we'll talk to you next time.